Hello and welcome to this episode of Formula WINOL. Today's episode is a preview episode, sort of gossip episode. We normally record on Thursdays, but we decided to risk it and record on Monday, and since then everything has happened.
Yeah. The one time we're actually on time, the whole entire F1 scene blows up.
The rest of the week's been boring. We could have recorded on Mondays.
Yeah.
And then the 1 week we choose to record on Monday, just all the seats get confirmed. Russell's now a Mercedes driver for a weekend. It's mental. But where are we starting? We're starting with the big story of Lewis. So, this was it Tuesday morning? I'm assuming it must have been Tuesday morning.
Yeah, it was Tuesday, I think.
Because I was not awake at the time.
Same, I woke up at
I think
3,
I literally woke up when the news broke.
I woke up at 3 p.m. and I'm like, oh, okay.
So it was announced Nikita Mazepin signed for Haas and Lewis Hamilton tested positive for COVID-19. We'll start with the Lewis news. It could make this weekend really interesting.
I think it will.
The title battle's already over, but I think that I'm so glad they put Russell in the car as well.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see whether, obviously, you've got that battle between Bottas and Russell, and I think the one that will be under more pressure will be Bottas, because obviously, Russell's got nothing to lose here, really. Bottas, I guess you could say he doesn't really have anything to lose because they've won the constructors, but
both of them have a race. Both of them have a seat to lose.
Exactly, and he could still, if he has a bad race, and I mean Verstappen was really quick last weekend. He was able to keep up with Hamilton. He could still lose that P2 in the Drivers' Championship, which will be a bit of an embarrassment if he does, considering how far ahead Lewis is in the points compared to him, and how far that car is compared to the rest of the field.
Then again, in his defence, he's had a couple of retirements.
True.
Which has cost him.
Ed's not going to like me for this, but I go more and more off Verstappen every time he speaks.
No, I agree with you there.
I think his comments, especially last weekend,
and this week as well.
To be fair, I think those comments last week, it's a little controversial. It wouldn't be me if it wasn't. I think those comments last week, they were wrong to say, but I feel like a lot of drivers do still think that.
I don't think so.
I don't think he's the only
They're
one.
far too mature to think that.
Because
he
has, if you boil it down to what he said, he has a little bit of a point. If you are scared to drive, you probably shouldn't be. However, it's fair enough that they were scared, if you know what I mean.
I don't think it's a matter of being scared to drive, and I know F1 drivers have this expectation they should be able to race on rather. But they don't know the condition that Grosjean's in. They know he's out of the car, but I wouldn't have done it. I would have gone out for a lap and faked a problem with the car and gone back in.
Yeah, I think
safety car spin.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the that's similar to the point that I think it was Torin that sort of put something in the group chat today that was an article about. Was it? It was Villeneuve and
Alan Jones taking Ricciardo apart, saying he should find another job.
Which I think is silly because they were saying, they don't see a problem with the replays, but what happens if Grosjean, yes, he's gotten out the car, but the doctors don't realise how bad he is, and he ends up, dying in hospital or ends up sustaining fatal injuries.
Yeah, I mean, not even fatal. They could have just been worse than they are.
Yeah.
We're very lucky, and he's extremely lucky as well. That, I mean, we say lucky that he tried. He said that he had to try 3 times to try and get out of the car when it was on fire. Yeah. And it's not luck at that point. It is that the driver managed to get themselves out.
His strong will to live that he didn't get killed.
I don't really understand where they're coming from. There's lots of drivers out there who've been in massive incidents and wouldn't want to watch it repeatedly. There's people of the amount of deaths we see on the roads in every country around the world every year. It's just that simple, a car crash. That's trauma. And I didn't want to watch it repeatedly. All the people I was in a watch party didn't want to watch it repeatedly.
No.
Ricciardo isn't the only one who thinks this.
Yeah, and it's a bit upsetting that he is the only one that thinks this.
Yeah.
Talking of upsetting news, Mazepin.
I
still can't
that was
that's
a very
can't
opinionated
his name
segue.
right.
10 out of 10.
Signing for Haas. I'm not happy about it.
Go on, I'll give you the mic.
Because there's been a lot of things on Twitter that have, let's just say, been brought up after the signing. He's punched drivers before. I'm pretty sure it was Ilott that he gave a black eye. He punched Ilott. I think it was Ilott.
After a practice session. Yeah, it was Ilott.
He has. It was either when he finished second or third. In one of it was either the feature race or sprint race. Forgive me, I can't remember exactly which one it was.
I think it was Belgium. Wasn't
Yeah, it was Spa. It was Belgium.
it? He got hit off.
And he pulled up to Parc Ferme in the number, it was either number 2 or number 3, and he almost hit Yuki Tsunoda, who'd already jumped out of the car after winning the race, and almost hit him, went full pelt into the board and almost.
I don't think that was on purpose, though.
I think it was.
It's not like he's trying to
I
hit
don't know.
him with a sign.
I think it was.
I think it was sort of like he didn't necessarily mean to, but I think he was really pissed off that it just ended up happening. And then he's also had his infamous I think was it Instagram where he put up, happy 1 year since the guy at a bat in Wuhan.
Yeah,
which
him
is
and
just
Bottas should not have
disrespectful.
gone away with that.
No.
And I don't think I don't really understand why. Like, I get it that Haas need money, but did they not learn from the rich energy thing that sometimes they should go for more like?
And have they not
good
got enough money
deals?
with Schumacher? He's got good sponsorship. Imagine how much money they'll make off
And
just
he's
his
got a
name
good
and
surname.
merchandise.
No one makes more money than a Russian chemicals company, do they?
But I mean, there's been like other stuff he's done. I mean, I even saw. Apparently, there's been rumours of him. I don't know whether there's proof or not. But apparently, he's been like chatting up fans.
So the rumor was that there was a fan who he was speaking to who was of the opposite gender to him.
Female.
So a female fan spoke to him, and he naturally, as any horrible sort of man, quotations mark, would ask for explicit photos of said female, and then when female refused, he got very angry, and then this got tweeted,
As if
and
it was her
straight
fault.
away was asked to take it down.
Yikes.
And it did get taken down.
Who asked them to take it down?
I would assume it was his sponsors or Haas.
Or his dad.
Probably Dad, yeah.
Yeah.
Papa money.
Mazepin.
And yeah,
Daddy Mazepin.
and yeah, the tweet got taken down, but it lives on in the memory of Formula One fans everywhere. There was a great one the other day, which was of him like doing like a punching pose, and it was like when the woman doesn't open boobs. And it was like it was typed like that because he's a bit.
That from Twitter. I didn't even know the context.
Yeah, I don't really understand the appointment personally, especially since it looks like Callum Ilott is going to be out of racing altogether next year now.
Yeah.
He put a tweet out earlier today saying he doesn't know if he can afford Formula 2 next year, and all the other categories are full or too expensive.
Which
for him
is
to
really
race in.
sad because Ilott is such a talent, and for me, there's no question who I'd rather put in that Haas car.
Well, the sensible thing to do is to sign as a second reserve driver alongside Kubica at Alpha, because Kubica's not going to get that seat. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kubica's there because he brings in Orlan, and because he has knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
But he's racing in DTM, so he's busy. Ilott should put an offer on the table with the FDA should put an offer on the table, give Ilott a test/reserve status there alongside Kubica, and then drop Kimi next season and put him in alongside Gio.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the best options for him.
If Gio even stays.
Yeah.
I would rather lose Kimi than Gio.
I'd rather lose Kimi
definitely.
than Gio, yeah, but I don't think Gio's really proven.
No,
he
but there isn't
deserves
anyone
that.
else ready.
True.
Like, who else are you going to put in that seat at the end of the day?
Schwartzman, but
But then
I think
that's not going to be
Schwartzman
to
would be
another
ready for
year.
next
I
year.
wouldn't
a
put him
bit
in at the end of
soon,
this year.
unless he wins the championship.
I think
Which is a bit of a
Schwartzman would
stretch.
be ready.
I don't know.
I don't even know. Is he still mathematically in it? He must be.
Even
Mathematically
Sonoda's
in it, but
mathematically in it.
barely.
Yeah.
There's mathematic possibilities that Mazepin could not get a super license out of it if he tanks this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that because apparently Haas were like, "Oh, we're going to take a risk."
He'd have to
with-
come 8th or something in the championship, and he's 3rd at the moment.
Which, well, a lot would have to happen.
Basically
Just say
impossible, but
that. You never know.
You never
it's
know.
F2 at the end of the day.
yeah.
But I think the right move for me that I would have liked to have seen Haas do would be sign Schumacher. I think that's a good signing. And then I think for the second driver, have more of an experienced person that can lead the team and lead the development.
Should've
Whether
kept
that's
Magnussen.
a Magnussen, or whether that's someone that is currently doesn't know what they're doing, like Hulkenberg or Perez.
I was hoping that it would be Schumacher and Perez at Alpha, and then Hulkenberg and Ilott at Haas. That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And that's what made most sense to me.
Yeah, I
It
think
made no sense total, but can't have everything.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
money.
there's a lot of drivers that I was realizing there's a solid like 5 or 6 drivers that I don't think should be in F1, which is sad, really, because I go back to sort of, I don't know, even 2017, 2018, and it was only really Stroll that I thought, you're only in it for the money, and everyone else I thought was quite a good talent at that time.
I thought that as well because I saw the Beyond the Grid like teaser that F1 put out on their socials, and I thought about how yes, a lot of the drivers in the sport are in the sport because they pay money for the seats and they have money. Big whoop, it's always been that way. However, there's a difference. Lawrence Stroll bought the team.
Yeah,
we haven't seen
big
that.
Difference.
We haven't got George Russell racing.
Yeah,
He's got money behind him. He's got Mercedes backing, but they didn't buy Williams. They just supply engines.
We haven't got Jos Verstappen.
If there's ever Jos Verstappen GP, I'm going to stop watching. I'll become a Formula E stan.
As it was, so.
Yeah. I don't. Jos Verstappen He didn't really do that much, did he?
He absolutely didn't.
This
That's
is
why all the
memes.
memes.
He was in F1 for like 10 years, but really did nothing.
He raced for Arrows and stuff, so like he really had no choices to do anything. But
no.
He was in that Benetton in '94. That's
set on fire. Yeah, I like, all the memes that are like Albon. We said to drive like Verstappen, Max, not Jos. It's like that. I personally would love it if Russell wins this weekend because it would be undoing what Verstappen did. As long as he actually wins the race the right way, because when Verstappen won the race, and a lot of people forget this, he defended very dangerously against Kimi and Vettel, and Red Bull screwed Ricciardo over on strategy.
And
otherwise, Ricciardo would have won the race.
Crashed in the first place.
After that, Ricciardo should have won the race, but then they messed up with strategy, and then Verstappen did a bit of the dangerous driving to defend. It was not an earned win, in my opinion.
No,
there was a lot, and at that point, that's why he's got such massive following, because he won on his debut at the team. And if George can do that this weekend, you know what Max will say. He'll be like, oh, but we were in the 3rd best car that year, which they weren't. It was the 2nd best. And they will go on about how Russell's just in the best car and he should have won.
But then, Bottas was behind Verstappen last race. Yeah. In terms of, and that wasn't like, yes, he had the punchy, yes. I think it was punchy, yes, he had the problem.
He did.
But like, Verstappen was consistently better than him last weekend, just on lap by lap pace. I would like to see Russell win. I'd love to see a swap between Russell and Bottas. Just put Bottas back in the Williams. Like he's had his chance. He had the first season. He didn't do too badly. I think it was in 2017.
2018, he did nothing.
2018, yeah. He's had a few.
Baku, but still.
Yeah, he's had a few years at it now to improve. And whereas Rosberg, we saw. Was sort of like giving Hamilton consistent title
fights. He's the
Albon
of Mercedes.
Yeah. Which, and I don't think that's because it's an Albon issue where they're not building the car for him. I think the car is built for Hamilton, but I think that car is so good that Bottas could easily be, if he was of the caliber of someone else like Ricciardo, Leclerc, he could easily be much closer to him in the points.
There's a couple of points I really wanted to bring up quickly, and it's just because I've seen a Stoffel Van Dorn post from 11 minutes ago. And it's not on the notes, but because I didn't send it through, because I just totally forgot to. But we'll start with Stoff's post, where there's a paragraph where he says, obviously I'm disappointed not to get the chance to drive for Mercedes. Having spent a year travelling to all the races and dedicating so much time, training, commitment, it hurts that he didn't get picked. That's what he's basically said. Louis Deltraz made a post yesterday in which he quite retweeted Jack Aitken's post saying he was driving for Williams, saying, congrats to Jack, Williams and Mercedes, a choice based on pure performance. It's nice to see a team with respect to its drivers.
Shade at Haas.
That sounds like someone who's not got a Haas reserve job next year.
Yikes.
It's
an interesting topic of conversation. There was a lot of chatter that Nissany was going to get the Williams drive briefly. For about an hour or so.
Please, God, no.
Because basically, if he'd have, it would have cost them a certain because of his family. It was going to cost them between 3 to 4 million to put him in the Williams seat for the race. But that's the same amount of money Williams would win extra if they scored more points than Haas that race. Which is it's a long shot, but you never know.
Aikens will
like rather than the actual talented driver in the seat.
I mean, let's think about it. It's an 87 lap. Fully flat 50-second, the 57-second laps No, 52nd lap times. I'm getting myself confused. Either way, very short lap times, all throttle, almost no braking. We're going to see some engines blow up this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like 17 finishes or 16.
Yeah. And also, he's got a really good chance, because that Williams with Russell has got really good pace in qualifying to get in front of the Alphas, the Haases. I think, with such a short track, if you make one mistake, it's going to cost you half a dozen, it's going to cost you a lot of positions.
Yeah, and it's gonna Max pointed out today in the press conferences saying it's gonna be really difficult to find a position to do your qualifying
Exactly,
laps.
yeah. It's going to be similar to sort of Monza, where everyone's looking for a spot. So
Even
I think
worse than Monza, because
be like Austria.
3 braking zones.
Yeah, I think if Aitken can get a clean lap and get a bit of a slipstream, he could easily be exactly where George. Well, I don't know.
I don't think he'll be near George,
is?
but I think he'll be ahead of Latifi.
I think he will be ahead of
I could beat
Latifi.
Latifi. No, that's a joke.
a
A lot of people could beat Nicholas Latifi.
There was lots of people saying like, "Oh, George shouldn't have gone to Mercedes this race because he would have gone 40-0 against teammates in F1." And it's like, do you think he cares? Like, why would he care about that record when he can drive the best F1 car of all time?
He wants a point, for God's sake.
Well, he probably was to like qualify Bottas anyway.
Yeah,
You know?
and there's a very good chance that he will.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him.
But yeah,
I wouldn't put it past him. This is a point as well. I've kind of embedded it in the middle of the podcast, but because we did our predictions on Monday, I did briefly ask the guys earlier if they wanted to change their predictions. What we've decided is we're just going to sub Russell in.
Yeah.
So what we've basically all
Spice it up a
predicted
bit.
is Russell pole and Russell win. So we might have bottled it this week,
Or
and
we might have got it spot on.
Or we might have got it spot on.
He'll retire lap 86 with an engine blowout.
I literally said that to someone earlier. I was like, we've all been manifesting this Hamilton
Yeah.
engine failure for so long.
He'll
By
lead the
all,
whole-
we mean Ed.
I mean Ed, yeah, the
he'll
guy
lead
wearing the
whole
Hamilton
race
hat.
for 86 laps, lights to nearly flag, and then last corner his engine will blow, and he'll trickle across the line in P7.
I'm glad that
Mm.
Ed didn't hear me mention the hat.
No.
Oh.
It is weird, isn't it?
It is beautiful, isn't it?
It's weird that a Hamilton fan, for some reason, wants his engine to blow up.
Or that he talks so
I
much
will-
smack about Hamilton.
I don't like you guys, honestly.
It's quite. It is.
If only we were recording this on video.
The only.
I'm meant to be on video next week. Oh,
the funny thing is the
no.
only argument you've got is that it's a Sterling Moss hat
How?
because he's the only other British driver to have driven
Oh,
for
yeah,
Mercedes.
Sterling
Yeah.
Moss, yeah, sure.
Yeah, with the Monster Energy.
Yeah, because
Sterling
yeah,
Moss
we all know
sponsored
that.
by Monster Energy.
because Sterling Moss was a proper Kyle.
He'd just down a quick can.
To be fair,
before
the
he
Lewis
got in the
Hamilton
car.
monster is the best monster.
It's not, but we're not going to get into that debate right now.
This is not an
Kyle
energy
versus
drink.
Kyle.
No, I think you'd find
Really?
Rich Energy actually is the best.
Mate, I've had Rich Energy. I bought
Is
like
it
a
good?
box
Is it
of it.
grim?
It's just Red Bull. It's
Is it
literally
just
Red Bull.
Let's sort of do
Bring
a
it
little
back.
bit of a bring it back to the track, and what we think this circuit is going to provide. Obviously, it's going to be sub 1 minute lap times.
For everyone except for Ferrari powered cars.
Yeah, they're going to be
Or
in the
Nicholas
1 minute
Latifi.
30s probably,
Or Nicholas Latifi.
or Nicholas Latifi. Yeah.
And probably Jack Aitken as well. What's your problem with
Do not
Latifi?
disrespect the king.
Yeah,
or-
you love his
or-
sponsors, don't you? You love it.
Can't wait to see WTF1
On the side pod.
finally on the F1.
I hope they
grid.
make the whole livery WTF one.
Yeah, just
I'm
black
just
and
going to
orange.
sit here in silence. Just
I
Jack
prefer not
Aitken's
to
helmet
speak.
should just be black and orange.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
But I think it's gonna be interesting. I've basically just copied and pasted the notes that I had from a couple of weeks ago when I was previewing the first race that I thought was going to be the oval when it wasn't. So it's going to be interesting to see, like with the DRS, how many zones there are, how OP it is. Considering I don't think it will be needed, obviously, as much as last race, considering most of it is just full throttle. And I guess it's going to be also interesting to see like slipstream.
It's going to be cooler though.
True.
The race starts 3 hours after it did last week. Of course,
Right.
the race last week was delayed by an hour and a half, so like it's
It
basically
might
the
not
same
make
time.
too much difference. Yeah.
But the race won't start in Bahrain until like I think it's like 8:10 in the evening.
Right.
So it's going to be cold.
Mm.
Not cold, but like it won't
cold
be.
for there.
Yeah, and it will suit Mercedes
Yeah.
because their engine runs hard.
Yeah. It will probably be. The teams will probably.
You're
be
wearing a
thankful for that.
Mercedes hat.
I'm not mis-
Yeah.
it's a
Come
nice
on.
hat.
Come on, Ed.
It's a nice
Come on,
hat.
Ed.
It is a nice hat. Is it like a blue denim hat?
Yeah, it's the 2018 British Grand Prix
Oh,
one.
that's nice. Yeah, it's nice.
It's the one I went to.
Yeah, nice. Who won that race?
Vettel.
Were you happy?
No.
I
Who
was
do you want to
I was
win it?
very happy.
Verstappen. No, I
Yeah,
genuinely,
Verstappen, yeah.
I genuinely did want Verstappen to win. Genuinely,
The look at
he retired.
Like,
for-
Verstappen?
I did want Verstappen to win. I was wearing a Red Bull shirt. It's actually my Facebook profile picture. You'd know.
yeah,
that.
your Facebook profile picture. You're wearing that hat and a Red Bull shirt.
Yeah.
No, all he needs is the Ferrari shorts.
Ferrari shorts.
Just you wait till next season. McLaren head to toe.
Yeah,
I
it's
swear.
happening. It's happening. We're getting rid of all the Renault merch.
I've got a Renault
Throw
Christmas
it in the
sweater.
fire.
Burn it in the fire.
The thing is, I bought a Renault Christmas sweater, but they sold out of all the like bigger sizes, by which I mean
Stick
XL.
it on the wall.
So I bought an L, and
Bought an
and
L.
I took an L,
You
and now I won't be able to wear it until like, hopefully like next year. But then it'll be Alonso and Ocon, and I don't support either of them.
You sure you're not an Alonso fanboy?
No,
No.
I'm not a Hamilton fanboy,
No.
unlike the person who controls the desk.
I will like just not upload this.
He's gonna turn my microphone off, isn't he?
I will press it off.
Probably.
I did last week. I
Probably.
just not turned the mics on. again.
Did you do that last week?
Yeah, I forgot to turn the mics on. That's
Mad.
not, remember.
Anyway,
It's in the bloopers.
yeah.
Another little segue there.
Russell's one of the only drivers who talked about the circuit so far.
Yeah.
That's quite fascinating because when he spoke about it, he was still a Williams driver, and now he's driving the Mercedes. So I think we'll see Russell out all 3 practice sessions for most of the sessions.
Yeah, because I guess he'll want to get as much experience as he can in that car.
But you're going from the slowest car, well, third slowest car on the grid.
Third.
I believe it's the third slowest. The Haas is the worst. The Alpha's behind it, for certain. Grosjean's come
I'd
out
say
and
they're
said
all in
that
the
the
same
Haas is the
ballpark.
worst. Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's 2 questions there. One for qualifying and one for race. track.
Well, it depends. Is Latifi slow or is Russell pulling the car along?
That's the thing,
Russell's pulling that car.
It's hard to tell, which is why it'll be really good to see Aitken in that car. See
Aitken
whether
pulling.
it is the car or just Russell.
Well, what's
outperforming it.
gonna happen is Russell will lead the whole race. As I said, he'll retire lap 86, and Jack Aitken will come 10th from it.
If this
is
comes
still a
true,
point.
if this somehow comes true,
What? And
I'm
so
not
Russell
going to speak to you ever
Russell
again.
will have outqualified all of his teammates in F1, but he's still both of them
No.
will have scored more points.
Yeah,
Aiken outscoring Russell
Oh man!
after 40 races.
Could
to
you
one.
imagine?
the
I
absolute
should just
scene.
win the prediction game altogether just for that.
Yeah, you can win the podcast.
I win the podcast.
We'd end up going off. You'd win the podcast because no one would come on again.
Exactly, you'd have it all of this
It's
studio
my
to yourself.
fault.
You could talk about all your Hamilton memorabilia.
Yeah,
All your Gronkowski jerseys. All the good old days.
this has just become a roast Ed.
It's not really a roast Ed.
podcast. He's just
He's gonna have a nap.
Ed's just gonna
Sitting
go
in
to,
the
go to
corner.
sleep for a bit. So anyway, now
You look like a Max fanboy now.
now Ed's gone, we can actually get.
It's got. Oh my god! It's got Hamilton's logo on the back.
Yes, it's a
Yeah,
Hamilton
did you,
hat.
did you not notice that?
Why do you think there's a freaking Union Jack on
Well,
the
it's the
bottom?
British GP hat.
Yeah, it's Hamilton's British GP hat.
Yeah, I know it
His
is.
own hat.
I've also got Hamilton's US Grand Prix from 2015 hat, 'cause that's when I was a Lewis fan. It's a very nice hat.
What do you mean when you were a Lewis fan?
Because I was a Lewis fan then.
Until half an hour ago.
Oh, shut up!
Anyway, let's
Okay.
let's
We're all a
maybe
bit
stop.
hyper.
We're all a
Let me
bit
ju-
hyper today.
I just want to preface it. This is the last podcast we're recording, all 3 of us,
Yeah.
in the same room.
So we're just getting all the insults done and dusted.
Yeah, because when we
Still
do it
have a
over
chance.
Teams, someone can just hang up, and then that won't make for much
Yeah.
fun. So like when Ed hangs up repeatedly from the Teams call, and someone has to add him back.
I still have the red button here, lads.
Yeah, we forget the power that he has sometimes. But I mean, let's talk about
I could just not cut.
let's talk about Formula E, shall we?
Yeah, we'll
we have
talk.
to?
We'll talk about Formula E. It's not like the most popular motorsport in the world, but we'll probably be covering it over the winter break, just because
Definitely, yeah.
there'll be nothing else to cover.
Yeah, and it is. I did watch it last year. It is interesting. It's certainly nowhere near the level of F1, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
But it is still really cool to watch. With obviously, like they've got loads of different factory teams in the sport, pretty much more than any other motorsport. But yeah, it came out. I think it was Wednesday. I want to say, maybe it was Tuesday. But it was Audi leaving Formula E, along with BMW, and Audi are going to Le Mans to compete, which will be really cool to see because hopefully it will mean there's a R8 hypercar, which I think will look sick, in my opinion. It's yet to see whether BMW will follow suit and also go to Le Mans. I think I'd like them to. Maybe they won't choose to. I don't know. Partly because they're possibly might still be supplying Andretti's powertrains, which might mean they don't quite have that budget. like Audi do, because obviously like they're going to be pulling fully out of the motorsport. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have any sort of like opinions on that, on what you think.
It's going to be Arava's My Driver come true. Audi are going to join the sport, sign Perez and Sainz, and then just going to make a dynasty.
Ed, do you agree with that?
I don't like Arava, so
You don't like any F1 YouTubers.
Any popular
they're
like
annoying.
content creator.
Yeah, he loves like small channels.
Into the barrier,
Yeah.
Ed. Surely
He's funny.
You've got to
Yeah,
like
he's
Into
alright,
the
he's
barrier. Surely.
This is just
alright.
becoming what doesn't Ed like podcast.
Yeah, why not? It's interesting. My cold takes.
You know the GQ where it's like top 10 things people can't live without. It's just Ed. Top 10 things Ed can absolutely live without.
I'm gonna have to Photoshop that at some point when I find the time.
There you go.
It'll
I've
be the
given
photo
you-
of you of Richard Hammond in the sunglasses as well. Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, the Formula E news is crazy because they came out the day after each other, and I don't really understand it because as a sport it seems to be thriving.
Yeah.
It's not good with COVID and all that. The economic impact of the electric car market and all the electric revolution as such has obviously been pushed back.
Yeah.
But it still seems weird that, I mean, I understand BMW's reasons for leaving. It's the same reason. I read the post, and it's the same reason. He's turned his hat around to show the Lewis logo now.
No, I turn the hat around because I fancy it. Keep talking.
But what BMW essentially said was there was no point in them continuing in the sport because the technology they're developing in Formula E can no longer be applied to the technology in their cars, and so therefore there's no point putting money into it. And I'm assuming that's because electric cars have been pushed back a bit because we've got COVID and people just got to focus on their company surviving.
Yeah, absolutely.
It still seems odd. It's still the reason why teams won't come into F1, and we won't see any new teams now until I'd imagine 2026 if they change the engine regs enough.
Yeah.
But sports just need to learn to be more accepting. That's what WRC is doing. That's why they're going back from these crazy beasts, and they're going back to like R5, where it's basically pretty much a stock car from the showroom with a spoiler and an engine in it.
Yeah, which I think is cool because as fans, I think we can all agree that like in Formula E, in WRC, in Formula 1, we want to see as many factory teams as possible.
Yeah, and I'll miss these generation of cars. I love the WRC's car currently, and I love the F1 cars currently, especially after the years that we had of the 2016 style cars, which were just grim. But it has to change for the sport to become more inclusive and to thrive. And yeah. Realistically, the golden era for me would be going back to like 2005 style cars with a halo on it.
Is that F1 we're talking?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have to say for me, I really did like 2010 to 2013.
Yeah.
I thought those
with the
were
step
sort of
down
like
noses.
Yeah,
They had a certain like, nice look to them.
I don't know, like not obviously. I'm not gonna come out and say Caterham and.
Are you talking about the nose ends?
Yeah, the Lotus dubbed like walrus nose and the.
I'm not going to say those are
that word nose.
Yeah, they are
that's
the
your
most
favourite
beautiful
cars, aren't
things
they?
of all time.
Oh, shut up.
Classic BMW Williams walrus nose is your favourite car. It wasn't a bad car though, was it? I think it performed quite well that season.
Yeah,
Williams?
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, the
I
Williams.
was talking about the Lotus one in 2004.
Oh, I was talking about like the 2003 Williams.
Yeah, that was 2004. That was alright.
But I think I don't know. I would. I know it's not going to happen, but imagine having BMW in Formula 1.
I'd love to have them back because their liveries would be the best of all the teams.
Yeah.
Except for it would be another team with a white livery, and that would mean we have
already
four
have
of
so
them.
many.
Well, Haas,
Unless
Williams,
their current
Alpha.
BTCC livery, black, red, and blue.
Yeah, but I think they'd run it in white because the traditional colour's white.
Yeah.
It looks great in black, especially in the rain.
But I'd like to see their they had it on some of the it was either M6s. I think it was the M6s that they run the GT3 with. That they had some of their liveries for them that were really, really cool.
I can't wait for the livery review podcast before pre-season testing. That's going to be my favourite podcast.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
That is going to be fantastic. I mean, we've already got the ones up for Formula E, so maybe we could, before the Formula E starts...
Maybe we'll do an episode of that during the Christmas period.
Just to give us something to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of other news this week...
The Turn 3 and Turn 4. That's what I was going to bring up. This is really interesting because it proves my point that concrete barriers are ridiculous and you shouldn't have them in high-speed Formula racing. No. Because they've replaced them with the same barriers that they use at like Baku and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Singapore. Now, obviously, concrete barriers have their place. At lower speed corners, fair enough.
Yeah.
Because they catch the car and they're designed to stop the car in its tracks. But when it's like and coming out of turn 3, turn 4 is high speed. That's just, you're not braking. You're on a straight.
Yeah.
That needs it can't be concrete.
Straight concrete. No, I agree. I think we've already kind of touched on this last episode, but I don't think the race should have been restarted with that concrete barrier.
No,
because it wasn't safe. But yeah, it's good to see that. I mean, it's obviously it's not a perfect fix with the tyres, but it's certainly better than what it was. And it's good to see that they haven't just gone, oh, we're just going to keep it for this weekend. The one thing that I did want to bring up was that Ralph Boschung, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is going to be racing for Campos this race, which will be a really hard test for Samaya, considering like he's pretty much always just been outdone by Aitken. And I think, if anything, probably the more pressure for that lineup is probably on Boschung, because if he gets beat by Samaya, that's not good
Samaya
for his
is
career.
this season's Ragnarthan, let's be honest.
I don't know if that's the ladder.
That's an F3. I mean, Deleda's going to be in that Campos next year, let's be honest. An F2, yeah, of course he is.
Jeez.
Because money.
There's
If he's not had his licence revoked by FIA entirely, which he should.
Imagine that lineup: Samaya and Deleda.
No, I mean, Boschung and Deleda.
godlike lineup that is. Honestly, just bring Ragnarthan back.
As long as it's not Sophia Flörsch.
True.
Awful driver.
I mean, she was the one that had that really bad incident. Was it?
Yeah,
Was
she
it
had
in
the
Macau?
awful crash at Macau.
Yeah.
That's the only reason she's in F3.
Really?
No one would really know of her.
No,
She's not a good driver. That's the thing.
I
There's
rate.
so many better drivers, so many better female drivers even that probably deserve that kind of recognition.
Yeah, maybe,
She's
but
the modern-day Carmen Jorda.
I don't think that's fair. I think she's proven in lower formulas that she's got what it takes. It's just whether the journey ends at F3 because it's such a step.
She also chats a lot of gas on Twitter.
Yeah, but everyone chats gas on Twitter
nowadays.
Straight up calling out the stewards for being incorrect when they made the right call against her.
Yeah, and Lewis Hamilton once claimed that the stewards were making decisions because he was black.
Yeah, true.
Like, it's adrenaline. It's an adrenaline-filled sport.
Yeah.
And that doesn't wear off just because you got on Twitter. In fact, it gets higher when you go on Twitter because you've got a platform. Exactly that.
Exactly.
I've just got a photo of Ed with his hat on backwards and it looks like he's got a Nike tick on it.
Oh, have you got... No! I don't like you.
Support Hamilton.
That was
Just do it.
It wasn't even that. He had a bit of hair sticking down. It looked like I got a Nike tick, and it looked like there was a Nike tick across it.
That's the reason I'm wearing the hat. The trim is dead. Needs reviving.
Needs a trim. But I mean, yeah. Apart from that, there wasn't really
There's
anything
Magnussen
else.
confirmed to Chip Ganassi. We already knew that, but
Yeah.
it's official today.
I guess it's
There's
official.
Before
one
we
thing that's
started
not
this.
on here, which I saw on Twitter, which is Volkswagen fully pulling out all motorsport entirely.
Have they?
Really?
What are they doing still?
Nothing.
WTCR they were doing.
No, they've pulled out that as well.
Yeah, but what were they doing?
I'm not sure.
Because they pulled out of WRC.
I think they might be in WTCR.
The great thing about WRC was they joined, and they were dominant immediately, and they won like 4 or 5 championships back to back, and then went, yeah, nah, this isn't for us, and then left
Fair.
because it didn't work with their agenda, and the same with BMW leaving Formula E, sort of.
I mean, I think
I mean, they had to go all green after faking the emissions test.
with VW and Rallycross.
Yes, they were,
might-
but I don't think
they
they've pulled
might-
out that now, have they?
Oh, well, they pulled out
'Cause
of all. They just pulled out of all motorsports. So anything they were in, they won't be.
Right.
It's not a Volkswagen team though. It is a Volkswagen.
If it's a customer team, then they'll still be going.
Possibly,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's Volkswagen Motorsport. So
all
Volkswagen
factory
Motorsport still
teams,
exists, but it's factory teams.
I think they said they're still providing parts and all that.
So they'll still provide the cars and there's backing to Johan Kristoffersen, in particular.
I think I saw something about him joining Extreme E or whatever it was.
Oh really? He just won the
There's a lot of
championship again,
people. There's a lot of
So,
people
I
joining.
think it might have
Extreme,
been him,
Extreme
it
E
might
is
have been
massive.
someone
But
else.
if I could drive for Nico Rosberg's team, I'd totally do it.
I think it was
definitely.
Rosberg's team.
I'd leave whatever I was doing. Just have Nico Rosberg as just have Rosberg Steiner as my my team. Good for Rosberg.
Steiner Racing.
That is fantastic.
Ed's gonna have to believe in a second. Who the fuck kick smashed my door?
I'm not blue. I've got too much editing to be honest.
Tell him if you want to kick smash my door, he go drive somewhere else.
It's just that video of that. It's on. They always use that guy just.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely just.
We look like a bunch of effing W's.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was that. Do you really not want to edit this podcast?
I'm leaving that in.
Yeah.
Go
It's
for
just.
it.
It's just.
My
the
fu-
editing's
future
gone out.
I've already got
Employers.
3 edit points. I don't need another.
In that case, then.
No.
Oh.
Best behaviour,
Okay.
you two.
But the last point on here is that Bentley have ended factory GT3 program.
Crazy.
I don't follow GT3.
No, it was just something that I literally just saw.
Yeah, I mean, this
before I
really
came
is a
on here.
gossip podcast because we had so much in F1 to
Yeah.
talk about.
The
The predictions and the Sakhir Grand Prix gossip, or preview rather, is all in the previous episode that was uploaded before this one.
In the description and probably the end card, if
Yep.
I remember to do that.
This one is
Good
entirely because we had some massive
Yeah.
news, and it would have been
it'd been weird not
totally
to do it.
stupid to wait until next week,
Yeah.
because we probably will wait till Thursday to record the
And
next one, I'd
something to do
imagine.
while we wait for the pub to be open.
And I'd imagine that we will probably need... We might record on Monday, it depends on how busy the race is. Like, it could just be dead.
It would just be us two, though, wouldn't it? Because,
Yeah, but
Tom
I'm
comes
not... There's no reason to come in anymore, there's no more classes.
good point. Oh, yeah, we could do online, yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
probably will go on. So the next podcast will be online,
Yeah.
I'd imagine. We will possibly do video podcasts?
Yeah.
Maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know how sure I am. but
After
depends
Ed goes...
first.
After you're home.
Yeah,
not-
I'm not home till next Wednesday.
Yeah, so the next one might be video for all of us except for Ed, in which case he'll have the photo of him with the very nice
Very
shades.
nice.
Jeremy helped, she took the kids.
I did the one with me with the French editing, the
You want to put the French one of you on, where
Yeah.
you look like
The-
you
the-
look like it's like a
pen stubble and the
yeah. You
beret.
can have whatever photo you want. You can have the one of you wearing a Hamilton shirt and the Red Bull cap. No, other way around.
No,
We can have the
I-
original one.
Because I look like I'm high in that because I'm busy trying not to scream because of my twisted ankle. That's a good
Sad
story.
times.
I went to British Grand Prix, got into the circuit, and there's a ramp from behind the Abbey Grandstand down to the old track. Massive pothole in it.
Ooh.
Twisted my ankle in it.
F.
Start of the day. I was crippled for the whole day.
Was that race day?
Race day, yeah.
Jesus.
I was at like 9 a.m. I had to use my dad's like tripod stick and fold it back in, hobble around like Gandalf.
Nice.
You shall not pass.
Yeah, and then Vettel won the race
Yeah.
because Bottas would not pass. Yeah, I guess that's about it.
Yeah.
So as I said, yeah, next week we will put whoever is on it. Also, just to say quickly, we are talking about doing some guest podcasts post season, getting some
Just a
fans
sort of
on,
like
just
review.
to talk about. Well, yeah, we've got drivers of the season. We know people who are fans of them.
Yeah.
Ed can do the Lando Norris podcast, so
Yeah. And the Hamilton one as well.
yeah. I wasn't
I'm
going to say
actually
that.
going to throw hands on
I wasn't
that.
going to say that, but there you go.
Tom, buy my drinks.
Tom can do the Nikita Mazepin
Yes,
podcast.
I love Nikita. Everything I've said.
So.
Tony, you can do the Max Verstappen one.
You don't want to hear me do a Max Verstappen podcast.
We've all just got to do it on the people.
No,
the driver that
absolutely,
we hate the
absolutely not.
most.
I don't hate any driver. I dislike a couple of them for things that they say and ways that they act, but I couldn't hate someone.
I don't hate Lewis Hamilton.
Nice. That was the really suspicious eyes give
Yeah.
for that.
I dislike him strongly.
To wrap up, yes, we will have some very exciting and interesting content coming up. So even after Christmas holidays, there will still be content going up. We're
Yeah.
not just going to disappear, thankfully.
No.
We have
when we
nothing
come-
better to do with our time.
Exactly. It's going to be it's going to be pretty much locked down. We're not
Yeah.
going to have anything to do. We're not just going to go away now.
Still
and not
want
be
that
here till
lockdown.
March.
Yeah, we might come back January, we might come back February, we might come back March in terms of.
They have published plans for like January 10th, but they said online /
Yeah, I
in-person.
saw
So
my parents said something like it could be
we'll
a 5
probably
week
still be in
time.
lockdown.
Yeah, probably.
So that's
Fine.
okay.
Boris
joys
is
of
a
being a
lad.
Brit.
But when there's a vaccine, we can have 15 people in it. No, I'm kidding. We definitely won't be doing that. Do gang vocals.
I get half of the Haas pit crew in here or something.
But anyway, thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Laters.
Bye.